AI is at this weird state right now where everybody is using it, but almost nobody actually understands what it is. Some people talk about AI like it's gonna replace humanity by next week. Other people think it's just some chatbot copying random stuff from the internet. And honestly, AI is way more interesting than the people think. Let's take an example. Have you ever used ChatGPT for like 20 minutes? Not just ChatGPT, maybe Claude, Gemini, Grok, or any other LLMs. I assume you have. And let's say at some point you genuinely forget you are talking to the software, right? And then 5 minutes later it says something completely stupid. And now you are sitting there wondering, wait, how can this thing sound smart and dumb at the same time? Because once you actually understand how AI works, everything suddenly starts making sense. In this video, I'm gonna explain all of this like we are just having a normal conversation. So to understand the today's concepts, you don't need to be a software engineer, not an AI engineer, not someone with a computer science degree, just a normal person who uses the phone, watches YouTube, and wants to understand what the heck is going on with this technology that everyone is talking about. With that in mind, let's directly get into the video and understand your favorite AI tool that you use in your daily basis. Before talking about ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, or other large language models, let me simply explain the concept of what exactly a large language model is. People keep saying LLMs everywhere nowadays. Like everybody automatically knows what that means. But honestly, the name sounds more complicated than the actual idea. So forget the technical words for a second. Think about it like this. Imagine there is a kid named Neeraj. And from the day he is born, his entire job is just to read. That's it. He reads books, websites, Wikipedia, Reddit, and basically the entire internet. Billions and billions of words. Now obviously, no human can memorize all of that perfectly, right? And have you ever seen anyone who actually know whatever the things that are available in the internet? They can answer those questions. No, right? But after reading for years, Neeraj starts noticing patterns. Like if someone says, "Hey, how are you?" Here is a very high chance that next response is, "I'm good, how about you?" Or something like, "What is the capital of Canada?" Your brain already knows next word. That's basically what a LLM is. A large language model is trained on a massive amount of human writings. Not because it knows things like human, but because it has seen language patterns millions of times. And this is the part most people misunderstood. Let's say when you ask ChatGPT a question, it's not asking Google like a search engine, it's simply generating a response one word at a time. That's why people compare AI to autocomplete. But saying ChatGPT or Claude or some other language models just an autocomplete is also misleading. Because you have seen normal autocomplete predicts only one or two words. But LLMs can generate the entire conversations. They can generate essays, they can generate stories, they can code, and they can even write business plans. If you want them to respond emotionally, they can be emotional as well, and other all sort of feelings, which is honestly the crazy when you think about it, right? When you go to the ChatGPT or Gemini or in other LLMs, they are capable of generating the images as well, right? So is this generating the text and the image the same thing? What do you think? The short answer is no. They use the different approach under the hood. Let me break down how image generation actually works. The most common technique used in the modern image generation is something called a diffusion model. And the easiest way I can explain diffusion is through this example. Imagine a mother is teaching her young daughter how to draw. The daughter makes a drawing, but it's messy. So the mother takes the drawing and she adds just a tiny bit of random marks, asterisks or lines, whatever, to it. Then a little more, and then until the drawing is completely covered with random noise. So now, here is the trick. The AI does not learn to make the beautiful drawings. It actually learns to do the reverse of that process. Think about when you look at the clouds. At first, it's just a random shape. But then your brain suddenly goes like, wait, does it look like a dragon? Then wait, you say like, that looks like a face. Your brain slowly turns randomness into something meaningful, right? AI image generation works exactly like that. The AI starts with complete random visual noise first. And then step by steps, it keeps adjusting the image until the randomness slowly starts matching your prompt. During the training, the model looked at hundreds of millions of images paired with the text descriptions. It learned the relationship between the words and the visual patterns. What does warm light looks like in pixels? What does photorealistic portrait looks like? Or even what does the cinematic composition looks like? So when you type your prompt, the model starts with pure random noise, reads your text, and then progressively refines the noise step by step. One problem that actually everybody faces is AI getting worse and worse when you go longer in the conversation. I was having a great conversation with ChatGPT or Claude. You have always noticed that after 4 or 5 prompts, it started giving us short, vague, or almost useless answers, sometimes out of the context. Do you know why? Let me explain what is actually happening with a simple example. Imagine you have a grandmother, and your grandmother has a tremendous memory, but only up to a certain point. She can remember the things clearly in a great details, but only up to the last 2 hours of the conversation. Anything from the 4 hours ago, she cannot access anymore. Now you sit down with her and start telling her a very long, complicated story. At the beginning, she is tracking everything. She remembers every characters, every details, every piece of content you gave her. But as the conversation goes on and on, the early part of the story starts to drop out of her memory. Now she is only working with recent pieces. She gives you advice based on the incomplete information. So if you ask her to give an advice based on the topic, she will give an incomplete information because she can't remember what you talked 3 hours ago. She only remembers up to 2 hours. That is called the context window in terms of large language models. Every LLM has a limit on how much conversation it can hold in its active memory at once. So this is called the context window simply. Different models have the different sized context window. Some can hold a small number of pages, others can hold a book worth of conversation. But every model has the limit. Now you understand the context window. So when your conversation fills up that window, earlier part of the conversation get pushed out. The model literally can't see what you discussed at the beginning anymore. So it starts to lose the track. Then it repeats itself, give vague answers or even contradict things it said earlier. And the other thing, it's based on the companies, they can switch the models that has the lower parameters. Let's say if you are out of context window for the ChatGPT, let's say if model 4.0, they can redirect you to 3.0. That's how it works. So that it will be cheaper for them as well. And those models perform lower compared to the recent version models. And this is slightly different. It's something called a model drift or context contamination. If early in the conversation you give the AI a weird framing or a bad instructions, the bad instructions can be color everything that comes after. The model isn't just response to the last message, it responds to everything in the whole window, including the weird thing that you already said 20 minutes ago. So the fix is simple: fresh start, clean context, and the clean instructions. Now we talk about the challenges, why it gets worse, right? It's time to fix the problem. Let's talk the solutions about how to write the perfect prompt. This is the section that is going to save you a lot of time, because I watch people use AI every single day and I see the same mistake over and over again. Let me point you a picture. The number one mistake people make is treating AI like a search engine. They type 2 or 3 words and expect the perfect result. Then they say AI is not that good. No, you just didn't give enough to work with. Here is the actual rules for writing the prompt. First, give it a role. Whatever you do, give it a role. Tell it who to be. Whatever the things you are doing, first thing, you have to give it a role. For example, like act as a financial advisor, act as a high school English teacher, act as a professional copywriter who is specialized in Instagram captions for food brands, clothing brands, or anything like that. The more specific the role, the more targeted the response is. Second thing is give it a context. What is the situation? Who is the audience? What is the goal? The more the AI understand about your situations, the better it can tailor the responses. Number 3, give it a format. Do you want a bullet point? Do you want a number list? Or 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, or table? Tell it, whatever it is. If you do not tell it, it will pick whatever feels natural to it, which may not be what you wanted. Right. Fourth one, give it a constraints. That means what should it not do? Do not use technical jargons, for example. Keep it under 200 words. Do not suggest any solutions that require some money. Constraints are really powerful because they eliminate a whole range of answers you do not want. Fifth one, and this is the one of the most people never do. Tell it the tone. Casual and friendly. Professional or formal. Funny or light-hearted. Warm or empathetic. Whatever the tone you want, you can simply give it a tone. Tone changes everything about how a response feels. Instead of writing, write a birthday message for my friend, you type, write a warm, funny, slightly sentimental birthday message for my best friend who just turned 25. He might loves coffee and we have been friends since this time, or keep it under like 100 words. something like that. If you give that instructions, it's going to give you something you can actually use without any editing. And one more thing, AI is a conversational. If the first answer is not quite right, do not start over. Just tell it what to adjust. Make it shorter, make it more formal. Can you add a specific example in the second paragraph? You can script the answers through back and forth until it's exactly what you need. But what people actually do is they open up the new window and try to do a bunch of stops. If you do those things, AI will not understand what you talked about previously. So try to do one problem in one window. The people who gets most out of AI are not the smartest people in the room. They are the people who communicate the most clearly. So time to wrap up today's video. Today we keep it simple on purpose because before understanding the engine, you need to understand the car, right? So in the future videos, I'll come up with more technical side from my own experience from the software engineering or AI engineer perspective, how under the hood concepts of LLMs actually works, like what are embeddings, what are tokens, what are modern transformers, all kinds of things. So till then, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel, and peace.